Hello, in this video I will be showcasing Action Builder and Effect Builder. This video will be a long one because there's a lot of things to actually talk about. There's a lot of systems, a lot of intricacies, and a bit of history. The system itself is not finished. The main windows, the main structure is, but the modules are not. They are only tested. So first off, this is the only system that I pretty much must showcase the old pre-COVID Project I and post-COVID Project I, as the system itself was developed pre-COVID. There's a reason why it was developed pre-COVID, and there's a lot of changes in both. So first off, the history. This is Skill Builder, which is very old, and it is a predecessor for Action Builder and Effect Builder 2.0. But first I will explain what it is, what problems it had, and so on. When I worked on Project I was not the first one to start development. There was a person before me. I took over. The gameplay and the systems were designed to be very basic. Only 3 types of actions should have existed. For example, move, shoot, throw grenade. That's all there was to the gameplay and to the design. But it changed. The old structure, there was a unit builder, and the unit builder had multiple skills, but mainly one skill. That's all. And the skills were attached to unit builder. It was obvious quite fast that skills being attached to unit was a problem, because I had to change that skill for every unit. For example, this skill should do 10% more damage. Then I had to change every skill for every unit, and that was a nuisance. So I made a skill builder as a separate entity, as well as Effect Builder, which was made even before that. Effect Builder was pretty basic originally. It had damage as well as penetration and some other things, but it got out of hand. Everything was pretty hard-coded, and it expanded and doesn't have modules, so you can't do a lot of things fluidly. You need to add new systems, new structures, which just made it scale horrendously, and a lot of data exists that is pretty much useless for many things. Also, which was the relic from the past, was that it wasn't saved on scriptable objects, but it was designed to save on TXT JSON files, so it was not optimal, to say the slightest. Skill Builder was further developed, which essentially had more data. It connected with Effect ID, and it was better. It worked. All units had some form of holding that information, and it was useful, but the same issue. The game expanded. This system, for example, you could say throw a grenade explodes in an area of effect. We can decide what kind of area of effect it is. It's possible to even define multiple areas, ring sizes, ring amounts. For example, the closer you are to the grenade, the more damage it does, and a lot of information is still hard-coded, and you can't say, for example, a grenade explodes into multiple shrapnel grenades that also explode. There's only one explosion. That's where the limits, and as the system expanded, it just got out of hand. Thus, we needed a more modular type of system. that can be used for multiple different kinds of projects with multiple different types of skills, multiple different types of actions, endlessly expandable, and that's what I came up with. So both Effect Builder and Action Builder use the same scripts, they use the same information, and so on and so forth. This is the old pre-COVID system that I developed. There are a lot of inefficiencies that I changed in the post-COVID. So you have effect, you have the name, you can search. Probably should move this here. So you can essentially search, you find, you drag, you change. You can reload if you did something or messed it up, and all information is here. You can change the icons, for example, icon generic. It's a script. You move it, you change it. You can also search here. There are, of course, different types of modules. And for example, integer generic damage module. You have damage, you can have other types of modules, and it all works, connects. You can also view multiple modules at the same time. You can copy and paste between modules, and you can change how you view modules as well. Pretty good. Also, it only saves the module to the game once the save button is clicked, otherwise you can reset. There are other parts. I should move the inspector as well. So, for example, this, you can change the window layout in whichever way you want. Also, a lot of other information can be changed, even sprites that are showcased. Distances, colors, everything can be changed. There's no problem with that. So that's for the effects. Action Builder works in the same way. There's an additional window. You can add infinitum windows. You can develop your own windows. This script essentially allows to add custom windows and control those windows. Of course, there's a need for scripting, but the main system allows additional things. So this was a bit more advanced. This was tested. It works. You can, for example, an effect that adds force. You can also add additional force. So in this way, unit is activated, add 600 values of force. Then after 3 seconds, you add additional force to the unit, etc., etc. That's how it's infinitely scalable. If you don't need it, just remove it. For example, let's just remove to see how it works. So let's add force. Okay, we have force. What type of force? In what direction? Do we apply drag? Do we not? Do we reset velocity that existed previously? Do we not? Everything that exists here is a module, it's a script, it's separate. You can force it to have any type of module as you want. You can click here, you search the modules. For example, force float, okay, we add. Multiplier, what kind of multipliers do we have? We click here, this shows scripts that we have saved. Now I'll show how it changed. A lot of things on this part were done much more advanced. The issues with last one was that when I was changing to scriptable objects, I made it recursive, so it had serialization depth problems. As well as saving problems, it was slow. Also, a lot of methods had to be created every time for every module. Post-COVID system solved these problems. Firstly, list scriptable object saves everything to a single hashed list, which on load places everything inside a dictionary. Every data knows the hashes of their parents and children. The effect module is the same. Saving is way faster because instead of deleting it overrides things that have been changed. The effect module list is not completely finished, but another feature that I wanted to add is separation, so you could have multiple modules of different kinds connected. It should have been very useful, but it's not finished. Another feature that these modules have is the ability to copy and paste. You just click this button, then you select the module that you want to paste. So for example here, and we have pasted that module. We can also paste those modules in other, for this instance the effect. So we just click and we paste. We can also copy and paste entire list. We click here to add it like this, or to copy, and now we will just rewrite the entire module here. Also, you can only copy and paste modules that are correct. For example, we can copy this module, but we cannot paste it here, so there's no symbol of the ability to paste. But we can paste it here because it requests the same module type, which is int. Also, this system had allowed groups, so you can create damage group, effect group, melee group, range group, grenade group, whatever you wish for, and those groups can have other groups within it. Let's see how it looks like when saved. So this is the module. I will move inspector. It shows the same thing. This only shows the inspector window, so the inspector itself is designed this way. So this is what it is. You click, these are all the modules that are connected to it, and those modules are pretty simple. Name, damage, another type of damage, everything is saved. Once saved, deletes the necessary module, changes the module if it's another type. That's all it. Also, I will showcase on the old one. For example, this is action, and there's a trigger on collision, which has the angle. Also, it has inner modules, which essentially affect apply, so how effects and builders are connected. This because the damage module has all the values necessary. So how do you change so that action builder has a different, for example, damage value? That's where the modable comes in. If it's a modable, you essentially create an editor name, editor description, and the base starting value. Then this script knows that there's an override, and all those overrides are here. Damage 50. You can set all those things that were modable in a different setting. So, for example, modable damage, modable here, modable here, modable here. So all of these can be changed, and this system recognizes that those values need to be changed. Back to the new one. How are they stored? So let's click. Everything is pretty much abstract and it's deep. The main thing, there's a module base and a module body. So the body is the effect or the action here. And then we have overrides. Overrides work for exactly effect builder, so that you can set specific values to be overridden. Then we have action base. These are for this part. Editor scripts, effects. These are for effect only, so there's a separation for modules that can be active for action and effect. And field, these are pretty basic information that can be used for both. so no need for duplicates. Value types, so floats, integers, etc. And other types, descriptors, icons, name. You can add infinite amount, and you can create modules for different types of games. So I think it's pretty obvious how expandable it is and how useful it can be, because it's pretty easy to add effect, add effect, add effect. Then you set what type. You can create those types with a button, click, change labels. You create, remove those labels. You can move everything and anything. Also, there's a lot of things that I want to expand on. I want to finish this. Sadly, now I don't have a reason to do that. Also, I want to connect all settings buttons into a single button to make it cleaner, and all settings scripts into a single one. This is how all of those look like here. This is testing, so it's not hidden. This is the location where it stores data. This is how it stores information: name, label, the GUID, and the file reference to the scriptable object. Checks if it's expanded. Just basic information. There's nothing too much. Once it's finished, just hide this information and all is good. That's about it. Thank you for watching.